All right, team, how we doing? Coach Dana Cavalea coming at you with the Becoming a Champion show, where we are all about inspiration, motivation, and encouragement to move you along your high performance journey. And today I actually have two topics that I want to go over with you because, well, they landed really well on social media and they landed very well with, the audience that I intend for them to land with. So the first one is this. Um, how many people out there would agree that maybe they have 5 or 10 pounds that are just floating around that they've been trying to attack for a while and they just kind of continue to linger, right? There's probably a bunch of people like that. So what I put out in a post last week that, again, I was surprised how well it was received, but it shows that people, are into this, and they say, yeah, coach, I need help with this. Can you help me? I need help with that 5 or 10 pounds. So I came up with a simple rule, and I've used this for myself. I used it with athletes in the past, and I use it with executives. And it's called liquids till noon. Coach, that's crazy. There's no way I could just have liquids until noon and then start my day. And I actually said liquids till noon, then a salad. See, because here's what I believe, and I know it to be true because I find it in myself and I find it with those that I coach. Most of us are overeaters based on our activity levels. So as we get older, we have lower activity, but we have high calories. Those dinners out, those lunch meetings, etc. Those are all high calorie meals. And they're not necessarily high calorie because of the foods that we're eating, but because of the preparation. So I'll tell you a quick story. My wife and I were getting our kitchen redone. So for the past month, we haven't really had access to a kitchen. And for those of you that have been down this road in the past, you probably have an idea where I'm going with this, but you have to go out every night. That's just what it is. So what do? So for me, I said, okay, I'm going to perfect my first two meals of the day, breakfast, lunch. I'm going to have perfection, low calories. And when I go to dinner, how much damage could happen at a meal? I'll order a salad with a fish or a chicken or something, like that in that category or in that healthy realm. And I say, man, I'm putting on weight. I'm putting on size just in my midsection. And I realized that one meal can actually destroy your goals if it's one meal per day, day after day after day after day. And I said, this is crazy. So I have to talk about it. So I came up with this liquids till noon plus a salad. So it says, okay, my morning is going to be really light calorically because it's beneficial because most people eat late the night before or they eat typically a bigger dinner and that carries over, right? Your cells stay full because when you're sleeping, you're burning, but you're not burning as if you were doing some high levels of conditioning. So it's important to realize that if we can go on a liquids till noon eating strategy and then a salad, 2 out of our 3 meals, we've been very calorically regulated. And then we can have dinner, which again, I always say should be some sort of a protein and some sort of a vegetable based carb. And that's it. And if you need more calories, we'll figure out where to get them in. But for most people, most professional people, that's enough. Liquids till noon, salad with a protein and a vinegar dressing. Boom, nice dinner. Protein and a vegetable based carbohydrate and another salad. That's enough for most professional people. And think about your day of typical habitual eating. I bet you there's a lot more carbs because we're carb centric. We're starch based carb centric today, but we're not protein oriented, right? Typically, if you were to study the natural intake of somebody, their protein levels would be very, very low. Their carbohydrates would be high. And this is why we're seeing such an increase in the amount of diabetics that are out there because sugar's high. There's added sugar in everything. There's sugar in things that you don't even realize. But if you're taking in a naturally high carbohydrate diet, you're going to have higher sugar levels at all times. And if you have higher sugar levels as a result of a high carb diet and you don't burn the sugar because your activity is not that high, you run into levels of higher blood sugar. And day in and day out, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year of this, your pancreas finally says, I'm shot. I can't produce enough insulin to drive this down. Now, Coach, you talk a lot about leadership. You don't go too deep, into the training side, but my career was built on physical training and nutrition, rehabilitation, and mental training. That's what I did and do for professional athletes and now high-level executives, teams, and companies. So I wanted to bring this up because there is a very important word and we'll say feeling, right, that we want people to have, right? The word is energy, and we want people to feel energized. And if we're eating poorly, it's going to affect our energy. We're not going to feel energized. And if we're not feeling energized, what are we going to feel? Fatigued and tired and down. And if we try to push ourselves while we're fatigued, tired, and down, what's that going to lead to? Probably a feeling of burnout. So why are so many people burnt out today? Is it the fact that they're maybe on the screen a bit too much? Possibly. But are we looking at what people are eating? High sugar levels, high sugar intake. People are drained, energy's low, and they're pushing through. They're forcing. You ever been really tired and you force? Then you feel exhausted. Well, that's what people do day in and day out. And they get more and more exhausted. And as a result of exhaustion, as a result of poor diet and too much sugar, carb intake, not enough protein, and blood spiking, right? Or sugar spiking, we feel exhausted. And then we don't have energy to perform. So we have to be very on top of regulation of what it is that we're taking in. So the liquids till noon plus a salad, again, it takes care of 2/3 of your meals. All right. And it'll keep your calories very, very low. I mean, it should keep your calories probably 1,000 calories or less. And that gives you enough space for a 500 to even 1,000 calorie dinner, which puts you right around 2,000 calories for the day, which for most people, that's right where they need to be. For the ladies out there, maybe a bit less, right? But think about the principle here. Coach, I get these cravings. I don't know if I can do it. That's psychological more often than it is physical, right? So doing something like this helps you to overcome your mental dependency on food that you're playing off as a physical dependency. I need this. I need this. You don't. You need to retrain your mind, and you need to retrain your relationship around food. Personally, I'm at my worst when my carbs are super high and my sugar intake is high. At my worst, absolute worst, I use this as a reset. I do it for a week. I do it for 2 weeks. I do it for 3 weeks. Sometimes I do it for a month, and I reset myself. And sometimes I realize that it's the best way for me personally, and that I don't need as much food as I think. And it gives my systems a break. Okay. So this is something that could be used as a tool. For some people, you may really like it. It could be used as a full-time strategy, but I want you to at least give it a try. If you're feeling like you're stuffed and you're full all the time and you have to re-regulate your appetite, it's a good thing to try. And it's not as intense as, say, intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, which is the second topic we're going to talk about today. Most people look at intermittent fasting as the answer. It's the end all be all, go create a window of 15 hours, 16 hours, and have a eating window of 7 or 8 hours, and you're good. And that is good, but it doesn't work for everybody. And that is also not a full-time solution. So you can take liquids till noon plus a salad. You can cross it over with intermittent fasting, or you can use one for a period of time. You could use the other for a period of time and interchange them. But it's not always one or the other. And intermittent fasting is not for everybody. It, again, has a strategy. And what I like to use it for is burning down the extra fuel or junk that's in my cells. I burn it down and I take that cell to a place of empty, we'll say. And then we eat and we take it back down to empty through activity and fasting or liquids till noon. and our cells never get so full that they start spilling over. Because when cells start to spill over, again, blood sugar tends to go up, and we also tend to have a waistline that goes up with it, a belt loop, pant size that goes up with it. So if you're one of those people, just realize that you potentially have lost control of your sugar intake and of your intakes. So that's why I want to talk about today, because energy is so important in today's competitive landscape and everything that we do. You must have energy. And if you don't have it, there's a consequence to not having it. And I don't want you to suffer those consequences from a performance standpoint, from an energy standpoint, from a health standpoint. This is a part of development that most people in the business world don't talk about, right? In sports, we talk about it all the time. I mean, you train an athlete to increase their skill, increase their abilities, their cognitive abilities, their physical abilities, and to improve speed, right? Because fat guys don't move very well. And that's why we use these strategies. So I want you to deploy some of the things that we use for yourself. Coach, what else can I do? I'm going to do the liquids till noon. I'm going to do the salad right after that with a protein. I'm going to work to get my protein levels up. What else can I do? The other thing you can do is split your AM and PM training. Do something physical in the morning and something physical at night. So that way you are burning down any extra sugar that will sit in your blood, right? You're going to burn everything down. You're going to utilize the fuel that you take in. That's another strategy that we use. Okay. So what are these liquids that I'm talking about? Coach, what liquids can I have? What is it? Well, you can have water, right? You can have herbal tea. You can have black coffee. You can have a coconut water as long as the sugar levels are low. You can have a protein shake that you mix with water. You can have even a light smoothie, but limit the amount of fruit that you put in it and don't start stuffing it with nut butters, right? Maybe a tablespoon of an almond butter or something like that. But you want everything to be pretty low calorie. And what this also plays into is the fact that most people are dehydrated. So if you're going to spend the first 4 or 5 hours of your day filling yourself up in hydrating yourself, you're also going to be able to regulate your cravings because you're going to be hydrated. One thing I always say is this: the molecular makeup of a carbohydrate is C6H12O6. That's carbon, that's hydrogen, and that's oxygen. If you were to take that carbon molecule off and you'd have a hydrogen molecule and an oxygen, well, that's water, right? H2O, H6, H12. How many molecules of water is there? So sometimes we crave these carbs, but we're really just dehydrated. So the liquids till noon make sure that our hydration level and status is way up, and it'll again curb the cravings for the carbohydrates. So again, this is a very functional strategy. We're not getting too deep into biochemistry, and we're not getting super deep into the heavy science that's involved on the nutrition side or front. It is a strategy that you can try and you could deploy. Give it a good 3 to 5 days and let me know how you feel. And if you do try it, put your comments down below. I'd love to hear how you enjoyed the experience, some of the things that you've dealt with. Again, this is a strategy to help you regain and retain energy. So that's what today's about, right? So liquids till noon, that's the big takeaway. It could be alternated with intermittent fasting, but intermittent fasting is not the only way. This is a strategy that you can use to regulate appetite and also control and regulate your blood sugar. So give it a try. Let's get that energy up. This is Coach Dana Cavalea, and I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. And if you did, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a share. For those of you on iTunes, if you listen to the show, we'll take a comment, hopefully something good. For those of you that have not gotten your hands on my new book, Habits of a Champion Team, The Formula to Winning Big in Sports, Life, and Business, it's on Amazon. Signed copies are on danacavalea.com, where you can also get on our daily blog. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. I love spending time with you guys. Go out and win this week. Let's not play around. Let's not play it safe. Let's get aggressive. Let's play offense. and let's always be on the attack. I'll see you next week on the Becoming a Champion show. This is Coach Dana Cavalea. See ya.